Hey guys, so with all the wildfires and smoke outside, I decided that today would be a good shop day. So I'm going to show you how to replace a multifunction switch on a Ford F-150. This procedure is good through like 2004 through 2007. So stay tuned. So the problem that we were having with the pickup is that the high beams were getting stuck on. They wouldn't turn off. So after checking a couple of things out, I decided that it was this multifunction switch that had gone bad. And they call it a multifunction switch because it has your turn signals, high beams, and then your wipers also. Here is a close-up of the part number that I'm going to be using today. This is a Napa part number. And here's the tools. So these are the tools that we're going to be using for today's project. This is a 1/4 inch metric socket set and an impact wrench. You can use just a regular old ratcheting wrench, but I'm going to cheat a little bit with this impact driver. The first thing that we're going to be doing is removing this panel, and that'll get you access to the panels behind the steering wheel. I should mention this whole procedure is without removing the steering wheel or the airbag. When we get to the plastics around the steering wheel, we are going to have to manipulate it a little bit because we're trying to skip that step. So first things first, I believe this is a 7mm down here. You have one right here and over here. Again, I'm using an impact. So we'll drop that one. And that one. Okay, so with those out, you should be able to just pop these off. There's a couple of tabs back here that go into these rectangular shaped slots. So this panel out of the way, we'll put it up here. And then moving on, we're gonna take, I believe this is like a 5.5mm screw out from under here. So that's 5. No. 5.5. There we go. So it is a 5.5mm. Just a cute little guy. Okay, so with that screw taken out, we're going to lower this lever here for the tilt steering wheel, and we're going to have to kind of finagle it out a little bit. And I'll show you why once I get it out, why we're having to finagle it. Let me come from the other side. Okay, so I got it. Okay, so that was a bit of a struggle to get that out. The whole thing here with trying to keep from taking the steering wheel off and the airbag that's behind here, the struggle that I'm having is this lip right here goes on the back side of the steering wheel. So you're just having to try to manipulate that out. So I've got that one out. We've got to do the same thing to the top. So with that panel out, we do have 2 more screws that need to come out. They're right here. And then the same thing on the other side. Okay, so with those 2 screws out, we're going to work on this upper panel. The upper panel comes off in 2 sections. This back piece should just lift out, and then you've got a rubber strap right here. That little rubber band. I'm going to undo it from the back side like that. Before we go back together, I'll show you what I just did. So I believe this should come out probably the same way that this lower panel did, because I'm coming out from the back side of the steering wheel. There is some flexibility in this plastic, but be careful not to break anything. So that's out, just like that. So while I'm thinking of it, this was your 2-piece panel like that. and this was your rubber strap right there. So that's the back side of this panel. So going back together, we're just gonna have to remember that strap to put on. So there's that. And in taking that upper piece off, I actually broke the switch. So it's just kind of dangling there now. So now I really have to replace it. Okay, so looking at the new switch, you do have 3 connectors. You've got 2 on the back, and then this one here that we're gonna have to feed down in the steering column there. So first things first, we're gonna take off a screw that is right here. That black screw right there. Then we're gonna go ahead and do the wire connectors, undo those, and then we're gonna work on this clip that we have to pull this clip this way, and then this whole switch will come right out. So let's do this, let's do the screw. Okay, don't lose this. You know, I think I'm gonna get this switch up and out just so I can get to the back side of this better. Okay, there's 1 and 2. Now for that one that I was talking about that we're gonna have to do a little bit of fishing, it is down here if you want that. It comes out right here. Just like that. So I believe I just need to push up on this pin right here, and that will come out. So there you go. That is the broken multifunction switch. So going back together, we're gonna do just the opposite. I'm gonna go ahead and do all my connections first, and then I'll bolt it down. So starting at the bottom, going back in with this one till it clicks, just like that. Bringing the new switch up top. Plugging in the lower connector, then the upper connector, just like that. Okay, and then when we go to put the switch in, this channel here needs to go into this area where we had to pull back on this clip to get it off. Just make sure to get it in that channel. And then on the other side here, there's another channel that it has to slip into. So right here and here. And you're gonna push down on that until it clicks. Oh, maybe it doesn't click. Okay, but it's in. So now that screw that you weren't supposed to lose goes back up top. And we're gonna tighten that up. Keep in mind this is plastic, so don't over tighten. Just like that. So before we get to where we're putting the panels back on, I'm gonna go ahead and turn the key on and just make sure that everything works. So key on. We got turn on our lights, high beams, lights off, turn signals, wipers, spray. Okay, there you go. So let's go back together. Starting with the upper portion. And this was the piece that slides over the new switch. Be careful. I'm mainly telling myself that because I broke the old switch. I don't want to break the new switch. Okay. That. Now we need to go behind the steering wheel with this. Okay. So that panel is in. So here's the second panel. And that tab for that rubber strap is right back here. And I'm going to be all up in your way. Okay, there's that. Nope, just came out. Okay. All right, so upper panel's on. Now I believe we're good to go ahead and put the screws back in for that upper panel. Okay, so with this upper panel back in place, we're going to go ahead and start our screws. You got one right here, and then one on the other side. And again, when you go to tighten this, just be careful because this is plastic. So with both screws started, we're going to go ahead and tighten those up. So this rubber washer is in the back. That's a good thing. Okay, so something to note when you go to put this together with that lower panel, you've got this rubber grommet for around the gear shifter and the key switch, and that needs to just slide in there as well. There's kind of a groove on the back side of this lower cover, and again there's going to be some finagling to get it behind the steering wheel where the airbag is. Okay, so the lower panel is back in place. It was a bit of a struggle just trying to work around the different things in the steering column and then get those tabs behind the steering wheel and work around the shifter. So there's just a lot of little things going on that just make it difficult. But it is in place, so that is done. I didn't break anything, which is a good thing. I'm just gonna put the screw back in place, just like that. The tilt steering wheel can go back up, and then I think it's just this lower panel, kick panel, and then we're done. So starting with the top, these tabs, getting those in place, that in place. These two screws here, and this is going back to that 7mm. We have been using the 5.5mm, so this is the 7. So I'll go ahead and get it started. There's that one. I'm going to get this one started by hand right in here. We'll snug them up. Okay, so there you go. So we're done. The switch is in place. Everything is functional, and I didn't even break anything. So the real-time footage, or the real-time that it took me to change that switch was about 15 minutes. The video is going to be probably edited, so it'll be something different than that. But if you plan on a couple of sockets, I have an impact, you can do it with the ratchet. In about 15 minutes, you can change the switch yourself without taking the steering wheel or airbag off. So I hope this helps. If you think about it, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and like this video. Until next time, we'll see you later.